What's up, guys? We're gonna real beats. Today we're gonna be making a dark orchestral type melody. If you guys haven't subbed already or turned posts on, you should do so because it does help it a lot. Just hop right into it. So BPM, it doesn't really matter, but if you need one, 120 to around 140, okay, just for the style, but you don't have to do that. And we're gonna use a harmonic minor because it's gonna be easier to make dark melodies with this scale. But well, actually, you know what? Let's just use a regular minor and we could just pull one in. And I usually like to make these around like C. We could just go C sharp just to make it odd. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our first instrument, and I'll go through sound selection as we go. All right, so here's our first sound, just a piano. Now the VSTs don't really matter. That's why I named them, so that you know what type of sound to use, because my goal is to make it so that you can recreate this whenever you want to. You'll have like a mental template of what to do, or you can save this as a template if you're following along. So piano strings, horn, you can use a woodwind, it doesn't really matter. And then like a violin or a flute, something like that. Okay, so same thing with the actual notes. I'm gonna try to make it easy so you can replicate this whenever you want. All right, so all you need to do is click in the first three notes. That's it. Okay, do that. And then as far as the notes up top, you could create a seventh chord, right? Something like that. Now, what I would do with the top one is pull this over for variation. And then obviously we can kind of delete these because we have these notes, but that's just how you build it. All right, let's drag this over. And usually I like to put this one halfway, and then from here pull these over, and this is like your consistent notes that you're going to use throughout it. And you can kind of play around with the placement of these notes. So we could put one here and maybe one at the back, and you want these to kind of bleed on one another, right? And we can just kind of copy this, and let's actually keep this rhythm going by moving this over and copy this over like that. And let's play it. Simple as that. So let's move on to the next one. Like I said, we're going to keep it very simple. All right, so here is my string instrument. Any type of strings will work, you know, orchestral strings, violin, whatever you want. So for this one, it's very simple. You can kind of control the rhythm with this too if you make it fast. So I'm gonna start on the root. So if you want to make something like faster, you would just, you know, make it hit a lot faster, right? But if we just stretch it out, right, see, it kind of like lingers. So I like that one. So I'm gonna just do something like this. And what I always do first, just to check, is I make a chord backwards. So I hold shift, click and drag, and then you would skip the note right here, and then I'll land on this one, right? And if you continue, you'll just do something like this. But I only want two. And I'll drag this over, and I just listen to see if that sounds good or not. Okay, I like that. So what we can do next is highlight it all, hold shift, click and drag, and then control up. And then just to kind of make it sound a little bit fuller, I guess. All right, so those are the strings. That's all you really need to do. And of course, if you wanted to make it like faster, you could just double the notes, whatever. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So next up, we have a like horned instrument. So we have like this trumpet. You could use anything here like it, but I really like this preset. So with this, and let me go back here. You could use your first melody as your range for the horn, right? So the G sharp to the C sharp could be our range, right? And we could maybe end here. So from here, we have these notes to work with. So from here to here, you can kind of play around. So let me make sure this is a little bit larger so you can see the notes. So obviously let's just listen to it. All right, I'm feeling it going up. Right, you can see it's already mapped out for us. We just gotta connect the dots somehow. And maybe let's do something like this. Pull the velocity up. Make those a little shorter. You can play with the velocity a little bit. That's what I'm just doing here. Just take this and move it along, right? We don't want to kind of do too much. So you do something like this, and then maybe at the end we could take these. Maybe do something like this. See what that sounds like. All right, I like that. So let's move on to our violin. So now we have our violin, and this is from Fluffy Audio. They do have a free version. All right. So it's all right. So we kind of know what range we need now, so we can kind of play around. But usually this is like an accent. You could literally just do something like this, you know, right? If you wanted to. It's just like to kind of make the melody a little bit more unique. So what I'm gonna do is maybe play around with that. And actually, let's go into the 1/6 grid just to make it a little different. And we could just copy this over all the way. And we can kind of do the same rhythm, maybe somewhere down here. And let's end on a G sharp that we had earlier, just to kind of make it in harmony. Then let me see, try something like this. All right, let's see how that sounds. That might be too much. And I might bring these back just a little bit. All right, so I think that's it. So now what I'm gonna do is just pull this, or actually we could just kind of pull in the bass actually. So now, like a little tip for the bass, if you make something like this, usually with these, the bass will be a little harder to find because it'll be like so basic. You might be tricked to thinking this might be a bass, right? Something like this. Or you can go here and it's not gonna really tell you, but really if you do the string part right, it'll give you a nice bass line you can kind of build off of, because it pretty much is the bass. So you could kind of just copy these over, right? And it may not be like exact, but it's a good estimate on what, you know, what the bass should be. So you can kind of all right, just a very simple bass. So let's move on. I'm gonna just show you these on stock presets. All right, so really what I'm gonna do here is just copy all these down. And I'm gonna show you, don't need these VSTs that I'm showing you. I'm just using them because I pretty much just wasted money on them. So I'm not gonna just use stock plugins all day, okay? But I'll show you, this is the preset. I'll even favorite it for you. All right, and I'll just play them one by one. Right, and I'll argue that these sounds have more character than these real sounds. And here we have this little down here. I thought it was pretty nice. Right? And then we have this sound. All right, and then we got flex again, clarinets. All right, just for like like a string or a violin. And if you ask me, I would say it has more character than this. All right, now this sounds a little bit more realistic because of the samples, but like you can get away with a lot, okay, with these stock. Right, you just have to do less, but it's really no big difference. All right, so let's move on to like the effects that I'm using for these. All right. All right, so this is the effect part. I'm just kind of run through like what I have. So these are on the stock ones. All right. And I'll just run through them. So I'm using the RC20. You can use whatever you want. There are free versions of this like type of plugin. So these are just some custom presets here. I'll just run through them. All right, show you what I'm using. Got this. All right, and we got the last one. And oops. All right. So I'll just play them one by one. All right, just to add some character. So what I did was bounce this down to a sample so you can further manipulate it and stuff. And I put it in this channel, and we have halftime, and I usually put them on a 1/2 and it's sustain up just a little bit. Doesn't really matter exactly where it's at. And it's just to change the vibe just slightly. You can also do this by, you know, changing the pitch. Okay. But I just kind of like to do it the easy way. So I'll play it. And then I also have looperator, but that's just more for like the beat. Like if I want to put in the beat, and this is also custom. So I'll just play it real quick. All right, just to change it up a bit, but that's it for this video. That's how you make a dark orchestral type melody from scratch. Like, comment, and subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.